The ruins of Talvess still smoked 3 days after the assault ended. Sergeant Michael Torres led his squad through the rubble, checking for holdouts and survivors, exhausted and tense after 18 months of grinding conflict against the Keth'ral Dominion. The war had started over colonial disputes and resource rights. Now nobody remembered why they were really fighting, just that the Keth'ral were the enemy and coalition Marines like Michael were supposed to kill them. The Keth'ral were formidable opponents, taller than humans, stronger, with natural armor plating. But they were also parents and farmers when they weren't fighting. Michael tried to remember that. They found her in a collapsed residential shelter, a Keth'ral woman huddled in the corner, armor plating cracked from shrapnel, clutching an infant that screamed with desperate, inconsolable crying. Michael's squad raised weapons immediately, shouting commands. The woman didn't move, just held her baby tighter and whispered something like a prayer. Private Chen wanted to call it in, standard protocol for civilian detainment. Corporal Davis muttered she could be booby-trapped, that they should clear out. But Michael saw what his squad didn't. This wasn't a combatant. This was a terrified mother trying to comfort her baby in ruins, surrounded by soldiers she couldn't understand, completely at their mercy. Michael lowered his weapon, hold position. His squad protested, this violated tactical protocols, but he was the sergeant. He approached slowly, hands visible, using the handful of Keth'ral phrases he'd learned. No harm, safe, help. The woman's golden eyes tracked his movement. Her baby continued screaming, a rasping sound suggesting hours of crying. Michael could see her exhaustion, the desperate way she rocked the infant without success. He stopped a few feet away and reached out his hands in universal gesture of offering help. The woman stared at his outstretched hands, at his face, at the rifle on his back, calculating whether this was trap or genuine offer. Her baby's cries reached new pitch of distress. Something in her broke. She extended the infant toward Michael with shaking hands, whispering something that sounded like pleading. Michael took the baby carefully, heavier than human infant, with tiny armor plates forming along its back. He'd never held a Keth'ral baby before, but crying babies were universal. He supported the head, held the infant against his chest, started gentle rocking motion while humming something his mother used to sing. The effect was instantaneous. The baby's cries tapered into whimpers, then silence. Huge eyes fixed on Michael's face with curiosity or exhaustion. Within moments, the baby was quiet, tiny fist gripping Michael's collar. Michael's squad stared like he'd performed magic. The Keth'ral mother stared like he'd performed a miracle. The moment stretched into fragile peace. Michael stood holding the now quiet baby, acutely aware his rifle was completely inaccessible. If enemy combatants were nearby, he'd be dead. But there was just his squad, the exhausted mother, and this tiny life asleep against his chest. The woman spoke, halting standard mixed with Keth'ral. Her name was Thessa. Her partner had been killed 3 days ago by coalition artillery. She'd been hiding with their baby Kren, trying to keep him quiet, but babies don't understand war. Kren had been crying from hunger and fear and pain she couldn't treat. She'd been praying for anything to make it stop, and then human soldiers appeared and she was certain they'd all die. Private Chen reported the situation. Command's response was bureaucratic. Detain the civilian for processing, bring infant to medical for assessment, continue sweep. Michael made a decision that would probably earn reprimand. He told command they'd found wounded civilian needing medical attention, leaving out the baby because he knew what assessment might mean. He told Thessa through broken language they were getting her and Kren somewhere safe, with food and medical supplies. She didn't trust him, that was clear, but she was out of options. When evacuation transport arrived, Michael reluctantly handed Kren back to his mother. The baby immediately started fussing, reaching back toward Michael. Thessa looked at Michael with an expression of gratitude mixed with something deeper, recognition that this human soldier showed compassion when he had every tactical reason not to. Word started spreading through the battalion. Sergeant Torres calmed a Keth'ral baby just by holding it. In the middle of brutal war, one small act of gentleness changed something fundamental. The incident rippled outward. Command wanted to bury it, but Private Chen's photo got shared through unofficial channels. Suddenly, everyone was talking about the sergeant who made an enemy baby stop crying. The Keth'ral Dominion picked up the story. Hardliners dismissed it as propaganda, but parents who'd lost children saw it as crack in the wall of mutual hatred. Michael pulled strings to ensure Thessa and Kren were treated well. He visited when he could, bringing supplies, slowly building trust. Thessa told more of her story. She'd been a botanist just trying to raise her child. Her partner had been a teacher. They'd been caught in a war neither wanted. Xenobiologists noted that Keth'ral infants have sensitive chemical recognition systems. They detect emotional states through pheromones. Kren had sensed Michael's calmness, absence of hostile intent, and responded accordingly. The war continued, but something shifted in Michael's unit. They were more careful about civilian casualties, more willing to see Keth'ral as people rather than just enemies. Ceasefire negotiations began 3 months later. Surprisingly, the Keth'ral delegation specifically requested Michael's presence. The first formal meeting was awkward until Thessa entered carrying Kren. The baby, now 4 months older, saw Michael and immediately reached for him with excited chirping. The Keth'ral delegates watched as Michael took the baby and Kren settled immediately. One elder delegate spoke. "We have been at war for 18 months. We have killed each other's children and destroyed each other's cities. We have forgotten we are all just trying to protect our families." He gestured to Kren. "This child reminds us that perhaps we are not so different. Perhaps there is another way." The ceasefire negotiations didn't solve everything overnight, but it was a beginning. Thessa was offered repatriation but hesitated, looking at Michael holding her son. She asked if there was possibility of staying in human territory while she rebuilt her life. Michael advocated fiercely for her. Eventually, she was granted temporary protected status, with Michael assigned as her official liaison. He helped her find housing, navigate bureaucracy, learn standard. She taught him Keth'ral, shared her culture, slowly became less a ward and more a friend. Kren grew and Michael became unofficial uncle, the human who could always calm the baby. Months became a year. The ceasefire transformed into tentative peace treaty. Border cities were rebuilt with joint labor. Kren became symbol, the baby who bridged species through simple need for comfort. On the anniversary of the day Michael first held him, a memorial was dedicated to all civilians lost. Michael attended with Thessa and Kren, now a toddler. The memorial featured a statue. Human soldier holding Keth'ral infant, both species flags intertwined. As ceremony concluded, Kren tugged on Michael's uniform until he picked the toddler up. Kren chattered in mix of Keth'ral and standard. "Do you think it mattered?" Thessa asked quietly. "One moment, one crying baby, do you think it really changed anything?" Michael thought about his squad's transformation, about peace negotiations, about the fact that he was standing here rather than still fighting. "Yeah," he said, "I think maybe it did, or maybe it just